Hey guys, welcome back to the shop. Today I want to talk to you about something that's going on to all of us right now. It's the crazy price of lumber. Let's talk about it. Alright guys, as you know, if you've walked up and down the aisles of one of your big box stores in your local area, the price of lumber, I'm talking the dimensional construction lumber, the 2x4s, the plywood, the OSB, all of the stuff in your big box stores that's used for construction usually has gone through the roof in prices. I don't really know why, and I'm not really here to talk about why this has happened. What I want to talk to you about is a little bit about what we can do for us as woodworkers. A lot of you in the beginning phases of woodworking who rely on this construction type stuff to learn how to cut your joinery and get your teeth wet building boxes and birdhouses and smaller projects to learn. You guys are kind of struggling right now because you can't find lumber. What I would like to do here is discuss 3 different options for all of us, especially the younger guys who are new to this, and figure out how we can get around this problem. I do believe the summer's going to be a little tough for the prices, and I'm hoping after the summer the prices come back to something close to reality here. But I really can't be sure. Who really knows? You know, I don't know what the new normal is going to be. We may never get back to the prices we were at 6 months ago. So the first thing I would say is, especially for you newer guys, this is a great time to get out of the big box store. Let's start looking in our local lumber yards and our local sawyers that may be in the area. By local sawyers, I mean guys that have the Woodmizers, the guys that go out and find trees and cull them and make cuts. Some of these guys just cut for a fee, and if you have a tree that you need to take down, you could take advantage of this. But for the most of us, we don't have a tree to take down right now or have that kind of need, but some of these guys do sell lumber, and I would say let's look into that. The Woodmizer website is a great resource. They have a search engine where you can find guys local to you. A lot of them have websites. Just go see if they're selling lumber. It's a very good chance they might be selling local hardwoods in your area right now, cheaper than the Home Depot or Lowe's is selling, you know, 1x6s. So it's a good thing to check out. Also, larger lumber yards that are local, that have their own mill, that are milling their own local logs, also haven't really been affected nearly as much by this crazy flux in pricing. So if you do have a lumber yard that you use for your hardwoods, go check them out. They may cut pine as well. You may be able to get pine for a couple bucks a board foot, which right now is going to be a better price by far than what the big boxes are selling it for. So definitely check out your local area. Get out of the big box store and start branching out. It's a good time to learn something new, and maybe for the future you'll be better off for it. Now, I did a video 6-8 months ago called How to Find Free Lumber. And the reason I'm doing this video now is I've noticed in the analytics on YouTube that video is getting watched a lot right now. It's actually getting watched now more than it was watched when I released it, which is very rare for a YouTube video. Usually they start high and then they plummet down and they get watched a little bit over time. So obviously this is an important issue for a lot of people. Now I'll post that video up here. I talked about a lot of things, you know, dumpster diving, finding old furniture, all kinds of ways to find old lumber. I'm going to talk to you about 2 of them here that I have done recently, and I am building projects right now. I have 3 different projects in the works that are found lumber, free lumber. So let me explain what I am doing. The first is I found a pallet. I went and found a pallet and I milled it up, and this pallet actually milled up nicely. It has some nice, you know, some nice pieces of lumber that came out to be about 30 inches in length and about 3/8 of an inch thick. One thing you're going to notice with pallets is a lot of times by the time you get them milled up, you're not going to get very thick lumber. The top boards normally are only about 1/2 inch to start. Now, you can find pallets of all different sizes. I will caution you, I only take pallets out of the dumpster or leaning next to the dumpster behind a factory or a manufacturing warehouse or something. I live in an industrial area, so I have a lot of places that I can go look. And what I have done is I've figured out what kind of pallets certain buildings use, and I just go to the ones that have what I want. This was a very large 6-foot long pallet, so it had a long length of lumber between the runners. So I'm able to get nice clean pieces over 30 inches long. You're not going to get a piece like this out of the normal 4x4 square pallet. You're going to get pieces about this long. So figure out what's in your area and kind of do a little pallet shopping. What I'm doing with these guys is I'm making some boxes. As you can see here, I've milled one down a little bit further, and I'm just going to make some boxes. Currently, I am making a box joint jig down in the basement on the table saw, and I'm going to make about a dozen of these little boxes to put some parts. I have my planes up here. Some of the planes have extra blades and fences and things that I always misplace them. So I'm going to make a couple of boxes for my planes up here and put all the parts in. A couple of machines downstairs have, you know, tools and parts that go with them. So I'm going to put a little box like this next to the tool so that it has its part. That's a video that's going to be coming out hopefully next week. I just have to finish the box joint jig and make the boxes. So hopefully you'll see that next week. And pallets, guys. You can do a lot of things with pallets. I'll be honest, I'm not the biggest fan of pallets. I did a pallet wood video a year and a half ago where I built my drill press drill bit cabinet there. It's still hanging on the wall. It's still working fine. Here's a picture of it right here so you can see it. So as you can see, that's still holding fine. That was made 100% from pallets. Here's a link to the first in the series of that video for you. Now the other way to find lumber for free these days kind of is associated with another weird phenomenon going on right now. Our housing market is spiking, guys. There is very little inventory apparently in the housing market. And when that happens, houses sell almost the day they go on the market apparently. I have driven out of my neighborhood twice in the last month and found lumber stacked up on the railing in the curb. You know, all of the houses in my neighborhood have sidewalks that come down little hills, so they have railing. And I've twice now found a stack of lumber just leaning on the railing in the street for trash. And I've stopped and picked them up. Here's a picture of what I've found. And what I can tell you is I have two projects in the work from that lumber. The first one is this piece right here. Now this is actually, I don't know if the camera's going to do justice to it. This is MDF. That is a 1/2 inch thick that has just been edge banded, and it has contact paper put on it to make it look like lumber. This was probably sold at IKEA or, you know, somewhere as shelving. I can tell you that this lumber that I found leaning on this house was somebody remodeling a closet, because there was plenty of pieces like this that just looks like shelving wood, and there was a closet bar in there as well that they put out that I grabbed as well. It was a nice 4-foot long, 1.5 inch thick dowel basically. And lo and behold, 3 days after I grabbed that lumber, a for sale sign showed up in front of that house. So somebody rehabbed a little closet really quick to make the house a little bit more sellable. And yeah, that house is already sold and it's off the market already. What am I doing with this? Well, I'm going to clean up this contact paper on top of it, and I'm going to make a panel cutting sled for my table saw with it. It's just the right width. It's 1 foot wide. I only need about this much of it. So I'll cut this much off, and I'm going to make a panel cutting guide for my table saw. That'll be another video coming out in a couple of weeks. Let me get this out of the way. And I don't think the picture I showed you did it justice, but that pile actually had pieces of lumber that were pretty darn good. You know, pretty good in size. This is minus this cutout right here. As you can see, it's got a missing piece here, but this is a 1/4 sheet of plywood. This is 48 inches long, and this part of it is 26 inches. Unfortunately, it's under 24 inches here, so it's not quite a full 1/4 sheet. But I have a plan to build a cabinet. Actually, it's more of a hanging, it's like a hanging wall cabinet, but without the door, it's more of a hanging shelving unit that is built out of a 1/4 sheet of plywood. I could do it out of this piece with this cutout if I only put one shelf in the middle, so it had a bottom, a shelf, and a top. I want a bottom, 2 shelves, and a top. in this hanging cabinet. So I need this piece here. So there were many other scraps in that pile that I'll use as scrap to fill it out. And I'm going to make a hanging cabinet, hang it next to my table saw, where I can put all of the pieces that I use for my table saw right here next to it, easily reachable when I'm using the table saw. Free piece of plywood. This is 3/4 inch. I mean, this is construction grade, guys. This is, you know, this is, it says right on it, this is AC. This is obviously the A side. This will be the back, or this will be the sides. This will be the part you don't see. It's not the greatest piece of plywood in the world, but I'm going to make a cabinet out of it. I'm going to make it work. So there are methods to get free lumber. There are others. I can, watch that other video I did. There are other ways. A couple of pieces of the lumber I found in the picture I showed you were actually parts to furniture. It looked like one of them was the leaf to a table that somebody used as a shelf in that closet, and another one looked like the top to a bookcase or something. So there was some hardwood in this pile too. A lot of plywood, a lot of hardwood, and some MDF. So you can find lumber, and right now a lot of houses are getting rehabbed, and these people, they want to sell the house, so they're just throwing the stuff away. So there is some what people are calling high commodity lumber now laying in the trash because people are trying to sell their homes. So it's just a thought, it's an idea, it's a way to get yourself some free lumber to keep going with your hobby. That's it. This was a quick Saturday short for you. I hope this helps you a little bit. I hope everybody's still able to keep going with your hobby. We all love this hobby, so I hope you can keep going, and I hope this helps you keep going. If you like this video, please hit the like button. And as always, if you haven't subscribed yet, please hit the subscribe button, and we'll see you in the next one.